often use some of these videos that I've made as a reminder to myself, and by making a video and having the ability to actually teach the information, I believe it's one of the best ways to actually implement that technique yourself. One of these videos is today's, which is about cultivating a growth mindset, something that coincides with positivity and mental strength. It's no secret that this is a really hard thing to do, and it's a lot easier said than done to just be like, okay, well, figure out how to have a growth mindset instead of a fixed one. That's difficult, and especially if you're particularly in a situation or a time in your life where you might be struggling with that more so than another time. I think we go through days and we go through months and we go through weeks, even years, where being able to actually grow that mindset is going to be more difficult than others, and some days we're just not going to have it in us to be able to add to that. But like anything, it's a muscle that you train. A mindset is something that you can't just suddenly wake up with when you don't have it. It's something that you need to practice, it's something that you need to train, and you will get there eventually. So how can we actually begin to cultivate a growth mindset? So the number one thing that I would say for you to start with is to reflect. With any self-improvement journey, it's really important to actually just kind of ask yourself where you are at this current moment. There is a reason why you decided to click on this video, and so you have recognized within yourself that you probably do have a more fixed than growth mindset. So reflection really starts with asking yourself questions. So ask yourself, for example, do you see challenges as an obstacle or an opportunity for growth? Another way that you can identify this is to look at how you speak, and this could be to yourself or it could be to others. For example, do you say I can't more than I haven't learned to yet? We become very comfortable with the way that we speak to ourselves and even to others, and again it becomes fixed within the way that we are. And so it's by identifying, do you say I can't, or she can't, or he can't, or do you say I haven't yet, they haven't yet? Do you leave that room for growth and for learning? It might seem a little bit simple and a little bit like that's not really going to make much of a difference, but our words really do make a difference. Look at how affirmations and mantras make a difference to us mentally. This will too. The next thing that I think is really important to start growing a growth mindset is to challenge yourself. So you're not going to be able to grow without going outside of your comfort zone. You can't grow when you're sitting at home, when you're just staring at your phone and you're not speaking to anyone and you're just not doing anything with your valuable time. The thing with going outside of your comfort zone is that you should try and take it a bit more slowly, but you should also kind of jump into it at the same time. It's a very difficult thing, and only you can really understand your boundaries and what you're willing to do. I would not suggest just suddenly thinking of 10 things that is scary and overwhelming to you and doing it all in just one day. That's not going to be helpful for you. It's just literally just going to scare you and you're not going to want to do anything. Instead, think about the pitch maybe that you've been writing this week and finally send it off to who you want to send it to. Or next week, decide to go to that class that you've always been excited about but too scared to go to because you don't know anyone there. Little things like this will really help you grow. The next thing that I would suggest for you to do to grow a growth mindset is to not fear failure. And this is of course a thing that is far easier said than done, because failure is like the number one thing that holds us back in life. And once we kind of conquer the ability to actually just fail and not be scared of it, it will completely change your life. This is something, like I said, I am still very much working on. I truly don't feel like there's many people in this world who can say that they don't fear failure, because it is something that is so intrinsically scary to us, because failure can mean so many different things, and of course we're social creatures and we don't want it to reflect badly on ourselves and the people around us, and there are just so many reasons as to why we would be scared of failure. Everybody in this world fails at something every single day, every single minute, and we can't escape failure. We never will be able to escape failure, and so the only thing that we can do is actually just embrace it as a new opportunity to learn and to grow. I think that we should even just try to fail at things sometimes, because when rejection is the expectation, then anything other than that is simply a bonus. The next thing that I would suggest for you to do is to seek feedback, and this can be hard because criticism is akin to failure in a way. We see it as that, and we also see it as something that's personal and a reflection on us and our capabilities. And yes, sometimes people can use the facade of feedback to actually be harmful and malicious towards you, but I would say that this is probably in the minority of cases, and instead you should use feedback as an opportunity to learn and to grow and to be even better. Seeking and accepting feedback literally puts into practice the idea of seeing challenges as opportunities and not as obstacles. And the last thing that you should do is to be patient with yourself. Growth is a process and not a destination, and it is always something that you're going to be able to improve and to cultivate. This might be quite an annoying thing to hear, I suppose, if you're someone who does have a very strongly fixed mindset and likes to see a definitive ending, but this is simply not the case with most areas of self-improvement. You're always going to be changing the focus, you're always going to be learning, you're always going to be growing and changing. You're going to slip up, you're going to speak to yourself differently, you're going to feel like you can't do something, you're going to feel like failure is definitely just a reflection on you and you personally and your capabilities, and that criticism was actually just saying that you can't do anything and you're just a complete failure. But that's just, it's not true. And it's a struggle to try and realise that, but you have to cultivate patience alongside your growth. I think with patience that sometimes it's good to think about yourself as someone else. And this is good to begin with in practice, because if you see the way that you're speaking to yourself the way it was to someone else, for example, your friend, then I'm sure you would never even think of doing that. Because we do often speak to ourselves differently and in a more harsh manner than we ever would to someone else. So try and think about being patient in the same way. Speak to yourself as if you were speaking to a friend, because I'm sure that if your friend had the aim of cultivating a growth mindset, and if they slipped up, you'd be patient with them, so why can't you give that same patience to yourself? Thank you so much for watching this video. Cultivating a growth mindset is an extremely difficult thing if you're used to being kind of stuck in your ways with a fixed mindset, but it's something that will change your life for the better, gaining mental strength, positivity. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it's been helpful for you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!